You're listening to the Pure Motive Radio Network. You can reach us at puremotiveinc.com. That's puremotiveinc.com. And find us on Facebook. Simply look for Pure Motive Radio and like us because we like you. Now get ready and fasten your seatbelts because you're going to go on the ride of your life with Marti MacGibbon's Kickass Personal Transformation. Kickass Personal Transformation is a high-octane recovery talk show that provides you with tools you can use to maintain life balance, a sense of humor, motivation techniques, and messages of inspiration while creating and enjoying a new lifestyle in recovery. Guests on Marti's show are nationally headlining comedians with national TV credits, addiction treatment industry professionals, best-selling authors who write about addiction and recovery, thought leaders, along with health and wellness experts. The show is fast-paced, fun, and informative, and the show provides entertainment, education, and a discussion forum for people in recovery from addiction, or anyone who is involved with someone in recovery, or anyone interested in self-empowerment and personal development. During the show, call in and speak live with Marti. Dial toll-free 855-235-3451. Again, that number is 855-235-3451. If you're listening through your computer, smartphone, or tablet, you can chat live with Marti during the show. Simply scroll to the bottom of your browser and launch the chat room. And now your journey is about to begin on the Kickass Personal Transformation Show. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your host, Marti MacGibbon.
Hey everybody, this is Marti MacGibbon, and you're back at my show, Kickass Personal Transformation. And our guest tonight, I am so stoked. I mean, I am really stoked. Karen Rontowski. She is my favorite comedian in the universe, and she's hilarious. Karen is, hi Karen, and I just want to take a minute. Karen, I just want to take a minute just to brag about you and tell everybody how cool you are. I know they're going to find out. But Karen has been on David Letterman, Late Show with David Letterman. David Letterman got up from his desk and walked over to her and shook her hand and, complimented her on jokes that she did. And he just doesn't do that. I don't know if anybody, if y'all know that, but David Letterman just doesn't get up off his chair that often. And Karen, that was really rocking. And Karen's also been on Comedy Central, live at Gotham and Comics Unleashed. She has been all over the world entertaining the troops. I mean, Canada, Japan, Greenland, all over Europe. She rocks. And I'm proud to say Karen was one of my headliners with Laugh-A-Holics 2012. She rocked it and knocked it out of the park. And we're just so happy to have her on the show tonight. And she has a dual career, too, which we're going to talk about. Karen, not only is she a kick-ass stand-up comedian, but she's also a paranormal investigator and a Reiki master. So she's and she does tarot readings. So I want to talk about all those things and more. So Karen, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Marti. Pardon if I cough a little. There's some, I think it's allergies or something, but I love the name of your show. I love Kickass. That's the best. That's so Marti. That's wonderful. God, it's funny, when I did your Laugh-A-Holics, I will never forget that, because remember we thought the guy had the heart attack in the middle of the show?
I got to say this for Steve's benefit. Steve, Laugh-A-Holics, when Karen was on stage, I mean, she was killing as always, and I mean, almost literally killed. I mean, literally, a guy fell back into he was choking and fell back into
Oh my God.
I mean, it was like, and somebody called the paramedic. Somebody called 911, and the paramedics showed up.
I was trying to.
She was trying to record. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the show is going flawless because whenever you go to tape something, something always has to go wrong. So the show was absolutely flawless, and then all of a sudden it gets real quiet for a second between jokes, and some woman yells, "Call 911! He's having a heart attack!"
Oh my gosh!
And the whole theater just looks at this guy.
Oh, it was, and let me tell you what happened is, can I tell him, Karen? It's like, what happened was, in the theater, in the Indianapolis Museum of Art is where we have it. It's a 550-seat theater, and you can bring refreshments into the theater to eat or drink while you're watching the show. And this guy, it turned out, although everybody thought it was a heart attack, but it turned out he had just been drinking some Pepsi and he sort of sucked it down the wrong pipe, right? He was choking. So anyway, there was, at the beginning of the show when they were seating everybody, these really, really old people came in, and they had sat right in that section. They had like oxygen tanks and everything. So when we saw a disturbance in that area, we thought, oh my gosh, it might be the oldsters. And so that's when they brought the paramedics and the fire department and like the police. All these people responded, right? And they were all down there. And then when they saw it was a young guy, and then he was all, like the old people were fine. And this young guy was like young and buffed and everything. He was kind of mad because they made him walk out to the lobby and have his vitals checked and everything. And he was like, damn it, I feel fine. I'm fine. I'm telling you, I'm fine. There's just a little bit of Pepsi.
I know, he really was.
Yeah, but Karen literally, I mean, she almost killed somebody with her killer comedy act. And there's no greater compliment to a comedian than that.
No, there isn't. And it was so, but he really was like, what? I'm like, what's going on? And but it was, but when I looked down at him, I could see him from the stage. They turned up the house lights. He was blue. He was not. He didn't look good at all. So that was.
Yeah,
every time you hear a story like that, the person was taping the show.
Yeah, that's true. There's always something going on when you're trying to get it documented.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Now is that a paranormal thing, do you think? Do you think that's like something where the ether is disturbed? There's they used to talk about the recording gremlins,
That's really interesting. That's very interesting because, I bet somehow you can self-sabotage yourself over and over and over again with it. You know what I mean? Like you start to send out that vibe. Or, usually when you're just doing a regular show, you're sort of just so free flow because you're not thinking about anything else. So I think sometimes when you do that, you are thinking about the tape also, so your attention gets a little split. So
right, that can happen, yeah. And then I think you have to just sort of let it go. But in comedy, there are so many things that you don't have control of anyway. And I think that's what's really interesting about stand-up comedy. There's the phases of the moon. How was the traffic on the way to the show? What did they eat for dinner? All those kind of factors are coming in. And so it's kind of a process. It's almost like a spiritual process of letting go of, you want to have control as much as you can. You want to bring your best game. But then the rest of it, you just have to sort of let go. So it's spiritual growth, isn't it?
Yes, it has to be the ultimate in which I think is the only lesson that we're all supposed to learn in life is not worrying about what other people think. Because it's only, you can get, I worked all these, I don't know why, but all these old age homes in Florida went nuts for me, and I was working them, and I was flying back and forth, and it was the most grueling, it was probably the worst, it was the worst ever because you were just so rich and miserable. And at some point I was almost like I would say to them, when you die and your life passes before you, you're going to have to sit through my act again. So why don't you just enjoy it now?
That's great.
But and then you'd have a show that was complete death. There would be nothing, and I'd go to walk out, and they'd say, "Oh, that was the best show we've ever had here. I hope you'll come back again." And you're like, "What were you?"
I know what you mean. Excuse me, go ahead. I know I've had similar experiences with elderly audiences. I've had some of those myself, and they are very strange because they don't respond in the same way that younger audiences do. But you'll find out later that you killed, but it was like, they just didn't want to, maybe they, I don't know if it's like a health issue, but they, I've had some of those too. I did one in Vegas that was to it was at a University of Las Vegas, but they had rented the theater, and it was for older people. So, and I thought, people like my age, right? I mean, like middle-aged, but they were rolling them in there on stretchers, and they had, coming in walkers and oxygen tanks and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, oh, no. And when they laugh, they don't laugh as loud. It's probably just they just lack the wind, because they're like in their 80s. You know what I mean? It's a little... And then you find out later that that they absolutely loved you. Sometimes they fall asleep in the front row. That was unnerving a couple of times. Did you ever have anybody sort of doze off at one of the senior communities?
So I'm not at this. Oh yes, actually I have. I have a lot of drunks, but I think that should be the name of your next CD is "They're Lacking Wind." They're lacking wind.
Yes, that's right. Take a breath.
I know.
But you want to be like, heads up, Grandpa. Come on, wake it up here. Moving on. This is my show, man.
I know.
I hope they bring their kids next time.
This is, you almost want to go, listen, if you're halfway through, just go, if you're not happy now, this is it. It's not getting any better. There's no good.
That's right. It's all down. Soak it up now, because this may be, you may not be able to hear me tomorrow. And that won't because the mic's not working.
And that did happen once. I was doing one of these homes, and they had it. Usually the booker was so good; he did everything he could, and he would always hire the sound people. And the one time that he did not hire the sound people, they complained about me, and their complaint was we couldn't hear her. Like it was my fault. And I was like,
yeah, they're all wearing hearing aids and everything, or that maybe they didn't wear them because they were vain, or you don't know what's going on with some of those oldsters. But I know it. It's pretty interesting when your audience literally has to have oxygen to breathe. That's when you've got the chance to possibly enter the comedy Valhalla status of having killed someone. Although you don't want to do it, but I mean, it's like this might be the one where somebody literally dies from laughing. But then you don't want to hope that because it's not very nice. But
right.
Right. Well, tell me about now. How many of those shows did you do in the elder communities? Were there a lot of them?
There was I would say anywhere from 35 to 40.
Wow.
And that's not even, and some of them were like one where I'd fly in and fly back. It was like a half a year I was working for these people. And I think in March or April I had like 15 in a row. And I almost left comedy. But, that was when I went into, I did 209 days on the road, which is just too much. And so then after that, I decided for this year, that's when I started my tarot and Reiki business. So I thought, you know what, maybe I can, and both of them took off. Like now I have two jobs, and what I really wanted was sort of two half jobs that evened out. But in fact, I have an appointment after this. But it's funny, it was just too much, and so now I can stay home and work as much as I want, and I can say yes and no to whatever I want on the road. And of course, the minute that I did that and the pressure was off, I started killing at the old people's home. You know what I mean? Like it was like, she gave up, and then we'll let her do good.
But isn't that the energy of the universe? Sometimes I mean, I don't want to sound too cosmic, but it's kind of like if
you can always
it's when
be cosmic with me.
Yeah, we'll be cosmic. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean. No, it's like when you don't care. It's like, you know what I mean. When you don't care,
yep.
That's when things happen. I mean, if you can afford to not have to care. I remember I was going on this tour of I think it was Montana and Wyoming or something, and there were a bunch of one-nighters. It was just really crappy gigs, and I was telling you, yeah, I've got these gigs, and I said, I guess I can try a lot of new material on this road trip because the stakes won't be as high. And you were like, stakes? There are no stakes. And but it was really, I was like, yeah, that's right, there are no stakes. I mean, I'm like, but that was one of the most fun, other than the fact that the money sucked and there was a bunch of driving. I had an awful lot of fun on that road trip because I got a chance to just do, and I was just doing all kinds of stuff, and I wasn't even worried about it. I was so funny. You know, it was really, really funny. And then when I got back to L.A., I thought, well, heck, I'm going to take the same attitude here in L.A. that I did out there in, you know, in Hooterville, Montana. You know, do the same thing because they're just people. And I know there's no industry in L.A. anyway, not the gigs I was doing. You know, like they always say in L.A., oh, bring your best material because there might be industry. Oh, there's no industry there. The industry, you know, there's industry. Yeah, somebody's personal assistant was in the back row, or you know, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the fun. It's having fun that really matters. And I think maybe when the burden of all those shows was lifted from you, and you knew you weren't going to have to do those shows for right. Yeah, and then you're like, then it's fun again. So isn't that kind of a metaphor for life? It's like when things are fun, everything goes better, and when they all of a sudden become, oh, I gotta do this. You know, I find that I can turn things around. I mean, that's part of Kickass personal transformation, is just to get out of the fear and into the fun and start looking at things like. Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I get all excited when I talk to you.
Well, be excited. I love that, and so that So isn't that true though? It's getting out of fear and into fun. I mean, it's true with stand up. It's true with everything.
It is, and that's like a Reiki thing too. And I keep looking at all the things that really stress me out and what the outcome will be. And because really half of it doesn't matter. In fact, as comedians, when bad things happen, we have great stories.
Yes, that's true. It's so true. When something goes horribly wrong in a comedy gig, I always remember, oh, this is going to make a great story, and I'm going to have some really killer material out of this. And it's been true every time. Whether
well, and even in life, you know, those things that we can't hold, you know, that we try to control or hold on to, or you know, it doesn't matter. It was so funny. I don't know why, but this is like my own little personal zinc thing. Like I just can't. It's probably my greatest personality flaw. It makes me crazy because some of the people know. If anybody knows me, they know I have a service dog, and I hate being mistreated.
I love him.
Yes, and he's been with me for 13 years, and you know, a lot of people try and fake service dogs and stuff like that. So we take a lot of crap, but I'm always like really adamant about doing it right and doing the right way. And so one time when I left Oakland, they wanted to charge me for having the dog in the car, and there was nothing. You know, they said, well, we got to have the car detailed, and I called the place, and they actually removed the charge. And so that was fine. But I went this time, and they started on me again. And I got so upset the whole weekend on this last trip, and totally, it consumed so much time. I started looking at how much time it consumed. And then when I pulled in and I had the car detailed fine, I went over it with a fine-tooth comb. The dog had to stay in his bag when I was driving, like all these things. And when I got to the guy goes, oh, I know what a service dog is. You can do whatever you want with him. We're not charging you for that. And I was like, how much time did I put into, you know what I mean? Like, how much time did I put away on some media? And you know what? Worst case scenario, you know what it would have been? $75. And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not. A heart attack is not worth $75. You know what I mean? Like having a stroke from stress is not worth $75.
Right. Stress is really time consuming, and and it's energy consuming. And you're absolutely right. Like you said, half of the stuff we worry about doesn't even matter, and then the rest of it probably won't matter in 5 more years. You know, I mean, I was just adding to that if you you go 5, think, well, will this matter 5 years from now? That my car needs washing or whatever it is? No, this is not going to matter 5 weeks from now. Are you kidding? Like,
Marti, you are so smart, and this is why you're so smart. This is why you should have a podcast, because you already said 2 things that were incredible, which is I love they don't have wind, and stress is very time consuming. Yes, it is.
It's the big time waster. And it also. What it also does when we get stressed out and worried, we block whatever good stuff is coming because we're so stressed with the battle. And I'm a big combat type person. I mean, I go up against challenges like I'm going to go to war, and that's one of my things that I'm having to learn to temper is that I don't have to go to war. Like with a hotel chain or a car rental just because I want to book a reservation. This is not warfare. I just need to call and be casual. But then what is it that makes me want to take that hill? You know, like I've got to go to battle, you know, and the whole thing. So, just part of it. Life is accepting all the good stuff that's coming, even if you can't see it yet. And that's my resolution for this year, is to just spend more time in the present moment with the realization that good things are coming and that I have, you know, just a savoring life as it is. And it sounds like, well, I know you do a lot of that, and you taught me so many good things, Karen, about meditation. When I first met you, you were talking about meditation, and I wasn't doing it. And because you had told me some things about meditation, I started doing it. And I did some, you know, read a couple of books about visualization, and it really kicked off a whole chapter in my life. I think we met in the year 2000, right? And that was when I was like, meditation, who's she kidding? And then and I started trying it, you know, and then slowly got into learning how to, you know, to visualize and so on. So because the thing about Karen, Steve, is that she's just really, truly absolutely hilarious and gorgeous in the physical world, very gorgeous in the physical realm, but also in the spiritual realm, she's totally gorgeous and has so much going on. And, you know, I wanted to say this. Can you tell, you have a thing that you say that I just love about how sometimes a ghost will just do the same thing over and over in life.
Oh, yeah, that's why I want to move into a house that's haunted by a maid.
I love that.
Clean it.
I love that.
Well, I have a new joke about, because I work the paranormal conventions, and I just love it. I host the Las Vegas Paranormal Convention, and I'm always trying to write more ghost jokes. And the thing is that ghosts, they're just energy, and they used to be able to turn TVs on and off all the time. But now you just see them all standing around the 3 remotes going, I don't know which one it is.
That's right. This will screw up my poltergeist. I'm going to put up 3 of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till we get on. What is that one thing where you just have the streaming live? Where you put your laptop. I mean, Apple has one, and somebody else does. Anyway, that kind of stuff. That's going to stump the ghosts. No, I just mean watching TV on those.
Me.
Oh, what's stumping me? We try to stay one step ahead of these poltergeists because they are from another time, right? I mean, they're a little bit behind us, right? So if you have somebody that's a ghost that's haunting from like 1976, just take the rabbit ears off your TV and you're covered, right?
Right. That's kind of true. In fact, fact, when we go, sometimes when we go, when we used to go to Linda Vista Hospital, you'd have to have someone that spoke Spanish because they spoke Spanish. But sometimes, like, we forget. We'll be talking about machinery and cell phones, and we'll say, go to the little red light. Well, if you're talking to a ghost from the 17th century, they don't know what the little, you know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
They don't know what cell phones are. They don't know, you have to be, you think about, it's like I always try to tell a joke, like when we're in haunted theaters, and I actually had to look up online what jokes were popular back, in like Pilgrim times, and it was all wife humor and bathroom humor, so nothing makes sense.
Oh, cool. So you're walking into these haunted vaudeville halls going, take my wife, please, stuff like that?
Yes,
is that what you mean?
Yes, and that's new to them.
Cutting edge.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So if you tell a joke, as I always heard, now I don't know if this is true, I had always heard stories among comedians that the Comedy Store was haunted. And there are a couple of Comedy Store legends, right? Mm-hmm. About it's ghosts in the Comedy Store?
Yes.
Yeah, that's because the word is about it is that it was a mob, it was a mafia nightclub, right, at one time?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the other story I heard was that if you are in the main room and you're what is it now? It's something like if you're in the main room and they've got a neon sign that's got like a short in it, but they say if you're in the main room and the light starts to blink, it's the ghost of Sam Kinison, right? Or is it the ghost of Richard Pryor? There's one of them that they say it's their ghost if the light blinks. Is it Sam Kinison? Oh. I can't remember what that is.
I'm not sure on that one, but I think that you would, I don't know. That, to me, is interesting because I think they played so many better clubs than the Comedy Store.
That's what I was thinking. Why would they come back and haunt that place? That's
right.
Right?
When ghost stories go back to their homes, you never hear anybody haunting work like they missed work. We're going to go haunt work.
That's what I thought too. I thought I'm going to go with the blinky neon sign hypothesis. Like I don't believe that Sam Kinison or Richard Pryor is hanging around here.
Yeah, I think I just did a quick search and really quickly I think it's Sam Kinison because they used to mess with the sound and lights when he was performing. So
really? Oh, so he'd be on a revenge trip? Oh, I don't think so. Do you?
Or you know what, too? The San Diego Comedy Store is also haunted. There's a couple of things in a full-body apparition that walks around there. But
really?
all entertainment venues are haunted, without a doubt, for a couple of reasons, which is they watch the show, number one. But also entertainers have such strong energy that it's very visible to them and they can see it.
Yeah, I believe that. There's really... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. And when people love the theater, they truly love the theater so much that they return to it all the time.
Right. That would make sense. Yeah. So maybe Sam is there. That's cool. And, I've also heard that the Queen Mary is haunted, and I didn't want to go. I was afraid to go. I had a friend that I was going to take the tour of the Queen Mary on Halloween, and a friend of mine told me that it's haunted. And when I was afraid to go.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I've been there ghost hunting quite a few times, and it is, but it's all friendly ghosts. There's nothing to be worried about there.
Oh, good. I'll have to go do that then, because I think the midnight haunted tour of the Queen Mary then would be good. I just didn't, I wasn't sure, and I wanted to, I didn't know if I'd lose my land legs or whatever would happen to me if it was a bad ghost, whatever.
No, that's a really cool. The whole thing is just cool there at the Queen Mary. It's just really super.
So how do you hunt the ghost?
Yeah, that's worth going to, and the whole place is so interesting, and it's just so big, and it's just wonderful.
Cool. So, Steve, did you ask something?
Yeah. How do you haunt it? How do you hunt a ghost? Sorry.
How do you haunt a ghost?
Hunt.
Oh, hunt. Oh, I thought I was going to say, wait, well, you need to turn the tables on a ghost. Well, what we do when we ghost hunt, we do it like the TV shows. There's all sort of technology and stuff where you try to ghost voices come out on, they don't have vocal cords, so a lot of times when they go to speak, they don't. That's why we can't hear them. There's no vocal cord to carry the vibration of the sound. But when you use electronic equipment, for some reason, they can make an impression on the taping, on the digital taping stuff. So we do a lot of taping, and then we go back and listen for voices. And you really can. In fact, it's very funny because my friends up in Ohio, they have a ghost hunting troupe, and they have a gentleman that has no vocal cords. So whenever he talks, it sounds like this. And because he's throwing out the vibration without the sound, they always get tons of extra voices around him because they can ride his vibration. And you'll they get tons. They're called EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. That's where you get the voice of, nobody's in the room that get, that kind of thing. So that's one of the ways. And then with pictures and there's all kinds of tricks to the trade.
Trippy. I love it.
I'm against hunting in general. I'm more of a peaceful person. But so I tell people if they hunt ghosts and they catch one, they have to use the entire ghost and not just part of it.
Oh. Well, now, so I'm going to get back to the ghost questions, but I wanted you to share with our audience because we got an audience with people in recovery, and this is a show about recovery and transformation and just all kinds of cool stuff. But I wanted you to share a little bit with us about what you, or a lot, with what you do with Oasis, because Oasis in Sylmar in L.A., the Oasis Women's Recovery place.
Yes, and you've done the show. I booked a comedy show, and I think our next one is coming up in March, actually.
Yay!
Oasis Women's Recovery is just this wonderful place that I don't even remember how I met them. In fact, last year, I think it's been longer than 15 years.
It has been.
Yeah, and they get all the money from the show. They take all the money because they work on a shoestring budget anyway. And it works out to be the most interesting thing karmically because I get the best comics from all over L.A., comics with TV credits like you can't believe, the funniest people, because this Oasis show is so well attended. You get 100, 200 people at a show, and they're the best crowd ever, and they laugh at everything. And you can't offend them. You can't, people in recovery, it's very hard to offend them. And, because they've been through more than anybody usually. And the show just rocks. And we have, like I said, we have a lot of the writers from Conan come. We have people that have had, 5 to 10 Letterman appearances and just working on their HBO specials. And they all want to go help Oasis because they love the women. They love how they're treated. And it's one of these things where a lot of times when you work with comedy clubs or charities or whatever, people will get, they start to think that they can do it. They'll be like, you know what, we're going to book the show. Thanks for doing it, but now we're going to try it. And it goes right down the tubes. Or I had a guy that wanted to book it for them, and then he went to them and asked for money. And they were like, no, we want Karen. And so one of the things that they do there that makes it so perfect is they're like, like if somebody wants to do a spot or something, they're like, everything goes through Karen. And if she says no, we stand behind her. If she says yes, we stand behind her. They give me complete, they trust me to do that, and I trust them to do their part, and it just is like this perfect combination with these lovely people, and it just works out fantastic. It is the best show.
It's a beautiful thing. And I love the way, and I know because of you, I found out about Oasis because I've done the show a few times. And then when I interned for my drug counselor certifications. You know, when I was in school, I interned at Oasis part of the time while I was still studying, and I have so much respect for Anjanae, the lady that started the place, and she pretty much just started. She and her husband just started the place and have just maintained it. And now her husband died, but she's still going. And I just think it's a great place. And I know women who have come through that place. I worked with a woman. She was one of my colleagues who had gone through Oasis, and she would always say, I'd say, "Are you going to do that?" You know, and she'd say, "Of course I can do it. I'm an Oasis girl." I mean, but she had learned all these skills, you know, from being at Oasis, and they had. It was just a wonderful place, and what you've done to keep the place going, because I know the fundraising that you've done by having the show there and producing it the way you have, and your work there has just been tremendous. Your service has been tremendously valuable there. Just think of thousands of women who have benefited from that, because they get a lot of their funds from that show. It's a great thing. I just wanted to say it to talk about Oasis, but then also to talk about you, because how cool you are, and what you've done.
Well, they've made it so easy for me, because they, like I said, they just treated me with so much respect, and they're like, "No, we want Karen, whatever Karen wants, Karen gets," and it just is, they get the crowd. They do the hardest part. They get the crowd. The girls sell the tickets at AA meetings, and people can just go also. People can come from all over, but just they're so good that everybody just wants to.
It is. It's a great thing. Hey, the other thing, Karen, is I remember back when I lived in L.A. and I was doing stand-up full-time, because as everybody knows now, I'm a humorous speaker.
Yeah.
I'm still doing stand-up, but I'm doing it different. But anyway, now I have to have a point to what I'm doing. I'm working on that. But anyway, when I was doing that, we had some times where you invited me and I went along. I'm so glad I did. Some of my most interesting experiences in stand-up, we went to some domestic violence shelters and did stand-up. There were several women. We went to a few of them, but there was one that we went to in Pacoima, and I don't know if you remember this, Karen, but we drove over there, and it was you and me and Jackie Cation and Monique, and I forget who else, but anyway, we were all there, and we were all dressed up, and we couldn't find the place. We had the address, but we just weren't finding it. And so finally we parked our car on a side street and walked back over into the general area, because we knew it was like across from the Safeway somewhere. And we were over there, and all of a sudden this camouflaged wall. Do you remember this? There was this wall. They had it so carefully camouflaged. All of a sudden, it came up like a drawbridge, and a car went in there, and this lady came out and said, "Hey, are you the comedians?" And we said, "Yeah," or you said, "Yeah," and then she said, "Where's your car?" And I should have said Pacoima is a pretty tough neighborhood, but anyway, I mean, parts of it are. So anyway, then she said, "Where's your car?" And you said, "Well, we've got it parked. We all came in one car, but it's parked off on this side street." And she said, run, get your car, run." You remember that? And we had to run back over there. We got our car. And people were just starting to sort of sit on it to party and stuff, but they were all real nice. We got our car and drove in under that, like, drawbridge, opened up again, and it had razor wire at the top, but they had it so camouflaged because I guess the men that these women had come and taken shelter from were such badass dudes. I mean, they were like gang guys. I mean, they had to literally, I mean, it was, do you remember that, Karen, how it was camouflaged?
I remember when we left, Jackie Cation said to me that was the scariest place I've ever been, and I don't remember thinking.
I wasn't scared at all.
No, I wasn't.
Were you scared?
Like me.
I wasn't scared at all.
Said that because I mean it was probably bad, but I used to live in Panorama City, and that's supposed to be the worst. So I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know, I guess if they did have the big wall, we probably weren't in a good place. But
oh no, it was wonderful. Yeah, oh no, I thought it was great, and I mean those women that were in there, great laughers, you know, and it was just wonderful, and but that was so dramatic, that camouflaged. I mean, you know, it's a war zone when they've got to, you know, strap some razor wire on and put leaves on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the garbage out to the dumpster. Cover me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So back to the paranormal now. Do you when you said you go to paranormal conventions, and do you do stand up at those conventions?
Yeah, I do stand up, and sometimes I host, and I just, you know, keep the show moving along and stuff like that. And they're just fascinating. They're just wonderful. You hear all the people speak, and I went to one, and I don't know if you remember that movie, A Fire in the Sky, about the loggers from Arizona, and one of them got abducted by an alien.
Yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that was abducted, was one of the speakers, and he was fascinating. It was so good. So there's always something interesting going on at these. And then we get into very haunted places. And the Las Vegas one, that's not even the next one I'm doing. The next one I'm doing, I think, is Virginia City. That's, I think, in April. Virginia City is one of these old cities in Nevada. And
that would be haunted.
It's fantastic. Well, actually, I don't know what's the most haunted place I've been, because that's one of my favorite places. But then when I was hosting the Vegas Paracon too, they took us to Binion's, part of the casino that's closed, and it was we have these machines where you can hear words, like real words come out of, and they said Rontowski. That's how the ghost knew who was there. They said my last name, and most people that bring me on stage can't say my last name, so that was pretty good.
Wow. He knew your last name, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the next one is up in Virginia City, and if anybody wants to go to these, they're fascinating, and they're always posted on my Facebook page, or you can email me or just post on my Facebook page, hey, when is Virginia City, when is, Vegas, and also there's one I'm doing at Pennhurst Sanitarium in Pennsylvania. It's a closed asylum.
That'll be scary.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And anybody that's never been ghost hunting and wants to go, all three of these are amazing. But Virginia City is an old gold rush town. And
I'll go there. I'm up by Virginia City now. I'm in Northern California, north of San Francisco. I could go, but I'm scared. Karen, I'll have to get behind you.
Well, we don't want to scare you, but
I'm like a two-legged Scooby-Doo. Yeah, I'll get scared.
Well, you know what's funny? Everybody makes fun of. I have all these male friends that make fun of Zach and the guys on Ghost Adventures, but they're really entertaining. They're very entertaining, which is why I love the show. But I kind of want to go. You know what? It's not even like people don't realize. They're walking in pitch blackness with just the night vision camera, and I have done that. And it's like the people that are making fun of them, I'm like, you would not make it down the hallway of Linda.
Yeah. You have to be.
Yeah, even not before you even get to anybody, before you even have any hauntings or anything. It's just creepy. So
it's dark.
Yes. You have to like scary. If you don't like horror movies, this is not for you.
Yeah. Well, also if you're not nice and light on your feet, because you definitely don't want to be going down a mine shaft and have somebody get scared and trip and fall on top of you or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's always the places I shouldn't say always. Usually they've been checked out, and these three places that I know of that I'm going, they're all up to code. Because they have to be, but otherwise they wouldn't let people in because people do own them and they are rented out. So it's a lot of great stuff. But you kind of have to have a propensity to enjoy being afraid. That's pretty.
That's cool.
Like I said, just that part of the darkness itself.
Just facing your fears. It's a good exercise in facing your fears. I'll tell you that's a really interesting. I might want to do that. I've been chipping away at my fears the last few years and doing things to, you know, this past year, 2013, I did some stuff about because I've got really terrible fear of heights, and I went zip lining. I haven't gone skydiving yet, but I went zip lining. It's a couple hundred feet up in the air in the redwood canopy, and that was a big deal for me. But I was absolutely freaking terrified, and but I did it anyway, and it was such a powerful experience. It's like I think that it's a good idea to, and I actually read this in a psychologist's blog off some psychology website. I was researching some stuff. But he was saying, do something every day that you're scared of. Do something every day that you're scared of, that it's good for you because it gets you outside your comfort zone, and it helps you to grow. So if even if it's like a little thing, even, you know, if you're scared to say hi to somebody, you go up and go against that and go ahead and stretch because it stretches you.
I have a fear of house cleaning, so.
Well, you got that maid, though. You got the ghost maid, right? The poltergeist.
Right.
But you know, that's really interesting. Like you're talking about facing your fear or being afraid, and then just sort of being present with that emotion, and it could be a really interesting thing. There's so much. I think addiction is a fear-based disease, and a lot of recovery is moving through fear and getting on beyond it, right?
Yeah, well, you know what, too? You just made me think you absolutely should come to Virginia City with me, because one of the funniest guys I know, and I won't volunteer him for the thing, he's going to be one of my buddies at the Paranormal
Connection. He could be on the show.
You could do your podcast from there.
Oh, that might be fun. We'll have to check that out, won't we, Steve?
We'll do it. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And there might even be some other people there, but he is so funny, and my friend, and I will get him prepped. And we did it together we had the best time ghost hunting last year with him. And you would have a ball, because, yes, I'd love to, we'll set that up for you. But you should. Let's
plan on it. Yeah, I'm in, man. I'm in. I say yes. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, there you go. There's your scary thing for April. I think it's when it is.
Cool. I'm good to go. I'm a yeser.
Oh, okay, great.
Now, what was that? What was that echoey sound?
I've just been messing with you.
Ooh, that sounded kind of ghosty. Ooh, wow. We're getting a visit. So, Karen, do you have any advice for our listeners? We're getting toward the end. We still got about, Steve, what do we have left? 5 or 10 minutes?
We're at about 45 minutes right now. So
oh, good. We've got time left.
50? But, you know, one thing that was mentioned earlier that I don't know anything about, which sparked my interest, was the Reiki, I believe you said.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about. Yeah, you don't know about Reiki, you got to know about this, Steve. This is really good stuff. Tell Karen. Tell about Reiki. It's a healing, energy healing.
Right. It's energy healing, and you go to school for it, and you get attuned to. It's sort of like, and we don't. It's an. You can say higher power energy. You learn to channel higher power energy, and you sort of cleanse people's energy, their chakra, and sort of clear them. And it's actually a lot of people, I think, in recovery would really find it interesting, and it helps out so much. It's sort of like removing psychic gunk off of people, or we have patterns that sort of stop the energy flow going through the body. So when you go to get a Reiki session, we clear it out. And we also, this is a very strange thing, but I think a lot of people in recovery know about this, is when it's just another cosmic world. This is going to sound really crazy, but just go with me. It's almost like the world of energy. Like people are, usually a lot of times too, people that are in recovery are very sensitive to energy shifts and changes, and they've probably had some dealings with paranormal or ghosts or something, because when you're in that drinking state of mind, sort of darker energies are attracted to you. They can get attached to you, and Reiki is a way to remove them. But it's just a good way to clear out energy blocks, to get your body, like people wake up feeling great when they're done. Some fall asleep, some stay awake. It's great to get your sleep cycles back. And it's really interesting how it can put balance back into your energy and your life. You're much more calmer. It just is you're much more in tune to your feelings. So that's really what Reiki is. And it's not that expensive, too. If people really like it, they can take a class and become a Reiki 1 themselves. There's Reiki 1, 2, 3, and Master. And it's just something that if people are having a hard time, it's a really great way to get yourself back on track.
And it really works. I worked at a treatment facility for women in Marin County, California, and they had a Reiki master come in and do sessions with people in detox and also in early stages of inpatient treatment. And so it is very valuable. And then also, Karen, you did a Reiki session on me once when we had a comedy show together, and I had hurt my knees working out.
Oh.
And you did a Reiki treatment on me, and it was so helpful. Not only did it help the pain to recede, but I also had what you're talking about, that spiritual lift, and it was very, very long lasting. It was excellent, and then it helped me to get above the pain and then into healing in the next few days. It was great. So, so how would we contact you for Reiki?
People can contact me through my site, and tarot readings I can do over the phone, and it's basically $40 for an hour. But if someone's having trouble, I'll make sure I work on a sliding scale, and I can, definitely work with you so that you get what you need. And, and sometimes just, give me a good shout out. But we'll make sure that everybody, if this resonates with you and you don't have money and you feel like you need it, give me a call. They can get me on my website, KarenRontowski.com. There's all kinds of links that you can just email me. I think my email's on any of the pages. And, and tarot I can do over the phone. So if you're in Indiana or out that way, that's cool, too.
Cool. Excellent. And your website is KarenRontowski.
Yep, KarenRontowski.com.
Let's spell that for everybody. Can I do that? It's KarenRontowski.com.
Yeah, and if you think you're spelling it wrong, you can put in like that, Karen Rontowski comedian, and then I'm sure Google will say, did you mean, and it'll come up with my name.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I should have known that. Of course they'd have that because you're famous, and that would come up. So you can even spell it wrong, and it'll come up.
Right, I guess so. Well, there's too many club dates up there because my sister's like, you have like 1 million postings on Google, and I'm like, those are old gigs from a long time ago. Those are old coffee house gigs, Yeah,
I have stuff like that on my Google too.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this has been so much fun. Steve, do you have any questions to ask, or can you think of anything else we need to know from Karen, lovely Karen Rontowski?
Yeah, I was wondering when your next stand-up comedy routine will be, or where people would be able to go see you live.
Yeah.
Well, great. The weekend that is coming up, which is I think it's the 16th, 17th, or 17th, 18th. Either one is a Friday, Saturday. I'm at Pachanga. So if at Pachanga Casino, I'm at the comedy club there, so that's good. And then the last week of January, I'm at Brad Garrett's club at the MGM in Las Vegas.
Ooh, that's a good club too. Boy, those are both excellent gigs, and there'll be lots of people can flock to you, and there'll still be seats in the theater.
Yeah. Yeah, and anybody that is interested in any of those paranormal conventions that I'm working at, they can just email me and ask me or find me on Facebook. They are so fun and so interesting. And these three that I talked about are the best. Like, they're the best places, the best. You'll just have a ball.
Oh, wow. I'm going to put that on my wish list.
Going to be at Virginia City.
I'm going to go. I'm going. I'm going to go to Virginia. I will go to Virginia City. I will be there. That's possible for me. I'm on the West Coast in April, and I can make that trip. And I'm going to bring my partner in crime, former partner in crime, now my partner in life, Chris Fitzhugh, my husband. I'm going to make him come too. And what is the name of your dog? You talked about your service dog, but can you tell us his name? He's an adorable dog, and I've met him, and he's absolutely wonderful. And people at Laughaholics met him.
Right. His name's Courage.
Courage. Oh. I love that, too. It's a perfect name. Now, he goes on the hunts, right? Does he go to the paranormal things?
Only sometimes, because
dogs are really sensitive.
Yeah, He gets a little scared sometimes. He gets a little.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Well, I can always stay home and take care of Courage if I chicken out. I can do that.
There you go. Well, maybe not, though, because the hotel that I stay in is really haunted, so you might be better to come with us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Courage was a big hit at Laughaholics. People were swarming around wanting to meet him both before and after the show. And he's such a good entertainment guy. He's very nice with fans and everything.
He flies, and he woke me up 3 times last night. I'm scratching his belly now because he had to go to the bathroom. He had a few bathroom issues. So at 1 o'clock we had to get up. At 2 o'clock we had to get up. At 3 o'clock he had to get up. So now what I'm doing is, as he takes his afternoon nap, I'm going in and waking him every 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't be too careful. Steve's got dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I'm between dogs right now, but Steve has dogs.
Yeah, big dog fan. So
they're the best.
Yeah.
They are.
So I just want to let you know, unfortunately, it's been great, but we're running out of time. So, Marty, do you want to wrap it up here?
Yeah, I'll just wrap it up by saying thank you, Karen Rontowski. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been fascinating. And we're going to follow you on Twitter and Facebook, too. And you've told us how to get a hold of you on your website and your upcoming shows. That's about it. People, Kickass Personal Transformation is here in the present moment. All you got to do is stretch forward and reach for it. And we've got a great role model in Karen Rontowski, comedian extraordinaire. Next week we have Bob Tyler, who is he's a giant in the addiction treatment industry, and he's going to talk about his new business that he has to bring recovery to people who have no money. That's
Marti,
his mission.
And I just want to say, Marti, I love you, and I'm your biggest fan.
Well, it's mutual. And thanks again for coming on. I know it's a real treat for us to get to have you on because you're so busy and you're so in demand. So real honor to have you with us, Karen. Thank you so much.
Well, my pleasure, dear. Oh, thanks. Nice to meet you too, Steve.
Thank you so much. Take care now.
Bye.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Hello, friends. This is Steve Thompson, executive producer at Pure Motive Radio. We hope you've enjoyed the Kickass Personal Transformation Show with Marti MacGibbon. And tune in next week, Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where Marti will have more of this entertaining, inspirational, motivational program broadcast to you. Kickass Personal Transformation is brought to you by the Pure Motive Radio Network. Hey, check out our website. Simply go to www.puremotiveinc.com. Again, that's puremotiveinc.com. We're also on Facebook. Simply look for Pure Motive Radio and like us because we like you. If you've enjoyed this show, you'll probably like all of the other shows we have. Tune in on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the One-Upper Show, where callers call in with their best stories to one-up each other. Then on Wednesdays, we have the Serenity Sisters Show. They cover all the issues women face in sobriety. It's time to put on your big girl panties. Tune in with the Serenity Sisters, Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.